Good morning, and welcome to the first hearing of the Interior Environment Appropriations Subcommittee on the fiscal year 2025 President's Budget. Chief Moore, thank you for being here to present the President's budget and discuss a variety of topics important to our states and important to the nation. As you and as members of this committee know, I continue to beat the drum about the dangers of climate chaos. This past year, we had the hottest day, hottest month, hottest year in human history. And we see the consequences all around us. In my home state of Oregon, the average snowpack in the Cascades has dropped 20 feet in the last 90 years. A lot less snow melt that contributes to the quality of our streams, a lot less snow melt that contributes to the water for our farmers and ranchers. As droughts have deepened and temperatures have soared, our wildfire season is getting longer and more extreme. And then we have the threats of insects and disease, making a bad situation worse. So we need to do all we can to help make our forests more resilient. Over the last 4 years, since you became chief and I became chair of this committee, Congress has invested significantly in the Forest Service. A major focus of these investments has been on restoring forest health and reducing the conditions of catastrophic wildfires. Administration's Wildfire Crisis Strategy Implementation Plan details how we need to build landscape resiliency and cultivate healthy conditions. And the annual funding provided by this Appropriations Subcommittee, supplemented by investments from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act, is making a difference. But forest improvements do not stop when a particular project is finished. We're touching only a small percent of the total number of acres that need to be addressed. And of course, the projects we've completed, the forests continue to grow on that land. I know that you and I share the goal of ensuring our forests are healthy and resilient in the face of climate chaos. We've put some of the best practices to work to clear undergrowth, to thin stand density, to use prescribed burns to reduce individual wildfire events, and I've really seen how the attitude towards prescribed burns has changed in our state, where folks used to resist smoke on a single day. They now would much rather have smoke on a single day or a few days rather than see the threat of their town burning to the ground, as happened in 6 communities in the Labor Day fires of 2020. I know my colleague from New Mexico is here. We also have to make sure prescribed burns stay on the prescribed landscape. And we should learn from the tribal knowledge and incorporate indigenous practices into our maintenance and conservation efforts. But forests in the United States, they are way behind the benchmarks of where they need to be to withstand significant fire activity. As we celebrate the investments of the last few years, there's still a number of concerns regarding the ability of the Forest Service to sustain this work and set the stage for long-term resiliency. The additional resources provided in the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and Inflation Reduction Act, those are one-time investments, and those funds are running out. The Legacy Restoration Fund, from which this subcommittee allocates $285 million each year to the Forest Service for deferred maintenance, expires next year. Over the last 5 years, these funds have been used to repair roads and bridges on our public lands, to provide needed access and assist fire response, to renovate employee housing in remote areas for seasonal staff and firefighters, and to build and repair other facilities related to recreation in our national forests. And then we have accelerating climate chaos. The world is not standing still in this regard, and we need to continue the Wildfire Suppression Reserve Fund, which expires in fiscal year 2027. That's quite a few significant headwinds that we are facing. Turning to the FY25 President's budget for the Forest Service, I'd note that the budget does not contain brand new policy initiatives. That's not a criticism. It's a recognition of the budget circumstances that which we are operating. But the budget does make an important statement that the Forest Service continues to prioritize its workforce. And that's important because that workforce is the way that we get the projects accomplished. We depend on our team members to deliver for the people and to deliver for the land. I want the Forest Service to have the resources it needs to confront the challenges of building forest resiliency in the face of climate chaos. I thank you for your dedication to the people and to the mission of the Forest Service. And I'm delighted that on this subcommittee, I have a partner from Alaska who understands these issues from the perspective of growing challenges for the forests of her home state. It's been a pleasure to work with her, and I'll turn the microphone over to her.